Welcome to our world of Carib Asian cookery. I'm Sherrie Eugene Hart, and alongside my husband Patrick, we're going to take you on a culinary cultural adventure.
In this series, we'll explore the intoxicating fusion of Caribbean and Asian food and show you some of the recipes handed down by our mothers, Ruth and Rita. So, sit back and relax and enjoy the fusion.
Hello and welcome to Pat and Sherrie's Carib Asian Cookery Show. This is the programme where we bring you some of the recipes that we prepare for our families at home.
That's right. Now, our Carib Asian recipes are a fusion of the food that we love from the Caribbean and Asia. Things that we cook on a daily basis from recipes inspired by our mums, Ruth and Rita.
So we begin our culinary journey and tell you two of our dishes we're going to show you today, but we're going to do bits and pieces in between as well, aren't we? Mm-hmm. All right. Where should we start?
We're going to cook a beef stew. That's the first bit, and we're also going to cook, I used to call them cutlets, but Sherrie's told me off and say, well, it's not cutlets. My mum used to say they were cutlets, or rissoles. So it's minced beef. They're kind of like burgers, but they're not.
And there's no way I'm going to go against your mum. So
no, you can't.
They're rissoles.
Yeah, okay, rissoles for us. But we're going to kick off with a stew, yeah?
Okay,
Tell us about that.
Absolutely. Right, we're going to have beef stew and with sweet potato. And I keep doing this and I look over and I think, what's that called? But that's easy. That's plantain. So if you can get some plantain for me, some sweet potato.
So not the green,
and
the
onion.
Different.
Yeah, green plantain, please.
Yeah, okay.
And we're going to use eddos as well.
Yeah.
And some carrots.
So what are the? Show me the eddos here.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're quite interesting.
Tell me about eddos.
These are like very small yams.
Okay.
Okay, they grow in the Caribbean and in India. And basically, they taste really good. I think they're much sweeter than yam.
Do I need to ask you where you got them from?
Mr. Singh. Hi, Mr. Singh.
Hi.
SSA, World of Spice. All right. Okay, so beef.
Yep.
Half a kilo.
Okay.
I asked him to chop it up for me, and it's going to cook very slowly. And so basically, we're going to put it in the oven. It will be like a stew, say 3-4 hours.
Go through what we want. We've got mixed herbs
could
here.
you season for me?
Yeah, of course.
With some mixed herbs.
Mixed herbs. So how much of the mixed herbs are we talking about here? This is a tablespoon?
A tablespoon, 1 tablespoon.
Okay, a tablespoon of the mixed herbs. We're then going to move with some...
a little bit of black pepper, half a tablespoon.
So this is coarse black pepper, there we go. So it's not going to be quite as much as half a tablespoon. I've got bay leaves, I never know.
Let's put 3 bay leaves in.
Do you just put them in numbers? There we go, just a little handful of bay leaves there.
And some cumin.
Okay. How about measurements
or
for
jeera. A tablespoon.
Okay, so a tablespoon of...
See, I never really work like that, you know that, don't you?
No, I don't, and I don't either, but it's really important. A lot of the inquiries we've had with our Carib Asian cookeries is people always worry about the quantities.
Yeah.
Because some people just don't like it too hot. But one of the tricks is also making sure that you cook it well, and then that way a lot of that fiery spice cooks away. This is everyday seasoning. Everyday
seasoning, bog standard for us. We use that in almost everything.
Each teaspoon. Can't have food without everyday seasoning, I'm afraid. Not in this house.
And a bit of curry powder as well.
Even our children are used to the spice. So this is mild curry powder. A heat.
All right, so mix that up. I don't mind whether you use your hands or whether you use a spoon, but I just need some more vegetables. Okay. Now this one, when I went to Mr. Singh, I said, this looks like a pumpkin. And I said, you know, what is it? I spoke to his daughter and she said, that's an Indian pumpkin. So I thought, yeah, I'll have that.
See, I could have told you that. Couldn't. So with the meat, really, it's not a matter of, because the beef's kind of chopped quite well, it's just making sure that the seasoning, equal portions of the seasoning get around all of the pieces of meat, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. And what I'm going to do is just fry that off, just lightly, because it's going to go into the oven, and use that as some of the stock for the rest of the stew.
And I've just got a message to those people on our Carib Asian Facebook page that have actually commented and said that I ought to stick to mixing vinyl than mixing lamb and meat. I think that's very, very unkind. So, that's what they said. That's what people have been saying. Yeah. They're not used to seeing me on a cookery show. You've done cookery shows and you've travelled around the world as well, haven't you?
I have. One of the most exciting jobs that I did was travel all over the Caribbean to record 6 programs, cookery programs.
I know, I saw them.
Just to look at the authentic dishes of the Caribbean. All right, let's have some carrots, sweet potato.
I can help you with some onion. Is there going to be onion in there?
Oh, yes, please.
Now, I assume, because it's a stew, the onions are going to be quite coarse and thickly cut, not ground down. So
absolutely. Sweet potato. Look at the colour of that.
That's lovely.
Not lovely.
So we've got onions chopped there. So we've got onions here. Do we need the garlic? How does that need to be?
If you could just chop them coarsely again.
Yeah. Okay. Have a look at the sizes of the bits of garlic that I'm chopping. Is that okay? Well, I'm not going to leave it like that. I'll obviously come down across, yeah?
Yeah, that's fine.
This is one of the things I always hated when cooking is preparing. So whenever I invite someone over, I try and get someone who will help me and I'll get them to chop the onions, chop the garlic, chop the ginger.
Yeah, I usually do the chopping for you.
Is that called a sous chef?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm your sous chef. So we're going to keep these chunky, keep them quite large. Green banana. Or you can use green plantain.
They're pretty hard, aren't they, green banana?
Yeah, yeah. And so all we're going to do here now is sweat these vegetables, add some seasonings to them.
For a layperson, I don't understand what that means. That doesn't sound very nice. Sweat the vegetables.
Doesn't it sound nice?
No. Come up with another. So explain what you mean. Just literally boil them.
Just cook them. No, we're going to use a little bit of stock.
Okay.
Beef stock.
Yeah.
And some water, so obviously. So just cook them through for about 5 or 10 minutes, and that's it. So that's sweating them. Put a lid on and let it sweat. And then we're going to put some flour on top, and that will help with the thickening. And when we've just browned those,
we're going to brown this,
put that on top, put them in the oven.
Then it all goes in together.
Yeah, and leave it for 3-4 hours.
Excellent. And the stock we're going to use, we'll talk about that in a minute. So just literally basic stock cubes,
yeah? Yeah, that's an ordinary stock cube. That's beef.
Yeah.
But this is what I love. This is a Maggi cube.
Yeah.
And the flavour you get from a Maggi cube is like nothing else. Okay?
Great.
So let's go.
So we've got the meat here. This has already been seasoned. You saw me do this earlier. Got the bay leaves in there as well. This time I'm not going to use olive oil. Ow! What I'm going to do, just a little bit of vegetable oil in there and drop this straight in. I want to make sure that this is cooked pretty quickly because we're going to seal this meat in. And remember, when you season beef or lamb or any of the meat, try and leave it overnight. Try and leave it in the fridge as much as you can. But because this is a stew and it's going to take quite a few hours, 3 to 4 hours to cook, we're going to get that flavour set in anyway. So pretty hot heat. Turn it up a little bit more actually on here. And let's seal this meat in.
Right, so all I've got in here is half a cupful of water and the beef stock cube. So I've melted that, and then we're just going to put the vegetables in. Okay, on top of that I'm going to put chili pepper. I'm not going to cut it, just have it there like that. I am going to put an extra garlic.
When do you need this stock?
Can you make it now?
Cool, so two Maggi cubes we've got in here. I'm literally going to add up to a pint of boiling water and I'll bring it back for the mix.
Okay, So Patty, all we're going to do now, can I call you Patty? You got some stick about that. I always call him Patty, it's endearing.
Let's just
All
move
right,
on.
Flour.
Yeah, okay.
Right, I'm going to, I would say about 2 tablespoons of flour.
Why the
Right,
flour?
This is just to help with the thickening process.
Okay.
Once it's in there.
So that will happen later once the stock and the meat's gone in, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to put the meat in a sec. So
So-
it's almost like a roux, just using the flour to mix in with the stock that we've already got in there.
But eventually this is not going to go, it's not going to stay on the hob, is it? It's going to go into the oven.
It's going to go in the oven. So
Okay.
take a look at that, how that looks now. So it's starting to thicken. And we've got some seasonings in there already. And I've put a hot chili, some thyme. All right, so we put that in there. Let's say 3.5 hours.
Wow. Gas mark.
6.
The next thing we're going to do,
Not done yet. We
Well-
got 3.5 hours.
prepare anyway. Can you stop interrupting? The next thing we're going to do is rissoles. What we used to call either rissoles or cutlets.
Yeah.
When I was young, that's what my mum used to call them. So we're going to kick off with 1/2 kilo of minced beef. I need you to help me here as well.
No problem.
I need some ginger chopped, and it needs to be really, really fine. And I need some garlic as well. Maybe take this big.
They're
There you
great,
go.
aren't they?
Yeah, maybe 2 of those.
Yeah, I mean, look at the size of those cloves of garlic
This is not your bit, love.
from
You just
Mr. Singh.
chop the garlic, thank you. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to season this. Caribbean everyday seasoning is the first. We're going to use a tablespoon. So literally 1.5 of those. You're going to bring mild curry powder in. You okay
Sounds
there?
like theatre, doesn't it? Bring it in from the left. Go on, it's your bit.
Okay, so 1 and a little bit of that. You're going to put some onions and breadcrumbs in there a little bit later as well. Garam masala, really, really important. Just 1 tablespoon of this. And as we mentioned before in other programs, it's really important just to give you an idea of how much you're going to put in there, because some people are really worried about the amount of spice. Is it going to be too spicy for some people? You like your food spicy, don't you?
Yeah, I do, but there's one thing with this. We don't use any salt in it. You don't have to, because everything has enough salt.
Funny you say that.
Yeah?
Right, so literally a sprinkling of coarse black pepper. And then the other thing I'm going to drop in here is salt. A lot of people won't use salt, but I'm going to just use a little bit of low salt. It's a lot
you are
better
going
for
to
you.
use it?
Literally, yeah, but only a little bit, just in case. So we go, literally the equivalent of a teaspoonful. So this is the ginger. It's really important that we get this ginger, this flavouring in here. We're going to add in a second some breadcrumbs, just normal everyday breadcrumbs. And Cheryl, while you're at the fridge, have we got an egg there as well? So we need to put an egg in. It's going to be funny if we haven't got one in there, isn't it? So,
We're out of eggs.
are you serious?
Yeah.
Great, so we're going to need some milk in instead then.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add these breadcrumbs in here as well. So we've got the minced beef, the ginger, the onions, the garlic, and all the herbs and spices. Cutlets and rissoles, they've both got different meanings. Some of them are kind of breadcrumb coated vegetables. Others will give you a description of meat but they've all got breadcrumbs in them, and they're all fried off as well.
Do you want some milk?
Yeah, so can you drop some milk in here for me? I might need a little bit more. I used to hate doing stuff like this. Now, ideally, and this is what can happen in your house on any given day. Who's in charge of the ingredients?
Sorry about the eggs.
Oh, right, okay. So on any
Sorry
given
about the
day,
eggs.
you could be you could be making something, and that's enough. I didn't say
Milk's good, milk's good.
You could be making something and you don't have a particular ingredient. You think, what can I use instead. So to be fair, as long as you've got the meat and the seasonings, onions are essential. And I think as well, the coriander chopped is really, really important as well. So we've got all-purpose seasoning, curry powder, garam masala, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt in here, garlic and ginger. I'm dropping a lot of it out. Really important that we mix this up well, because I'm going to make them into small little parcels that we're going to fry off as well. So if you've ever been to or ordered an Indian takeaway, often you'll get salad with it, or you'll get your curry dishes, and you'll get sometimes a white looking raita, or you'll get something that's kind of yellowy, very sweet as well. So we might need some castor sugar if we've got any. You'll have to have a look for me. Okay. So basically, just standard bowl. This is normal everyday yogurt. And it's very low fat, this one. Put that in there. What I'm going to add are 2 teaspoons of mint sauce, just normal everyday mint sauce that you get in a supermarket. The next thing is turmeric. This is what people use to make the rice yellow. So I'm going to put a teaspoon and a bit of that in here. I'm going to mix this up. You can smell that already. And we're going to look, we need to sweeten this up a little bit. Sometimes with a hot curry or something that's really spicy, this is what cools you down. Have we got some castor sugar, Chef?
Is brown sugar all right?
Not really, but it'll do. I'm going to put a little bit of brown sugar in there. Castor sugar is going to be ideal for this though, literally because it will take in, and there's less time or less need for it to dissolve in here, but you need that little bit of sweetness. Now you're going to be my tester here. Have a little try.
Ooh,
Is that nice?
yes, nice.
Cool. So that's going to form the dip
nice.
when we get these cutlets and rissoles done.
Shall I put that in the fridge?
Keep that in the fridge for now. And then we're going to go over to the hob.
I'll see you at the hob then.
So we're at the favourite parts of Sherrie's, Sherrie's favourite part of the kitchen, the hob. Why?
Why?
Well, you said it earlier, that was why. So what we're going to do, we've got this mixture, this minced beef. It's got the onion, the coriander, all the herbs and spices in there. We just put some vegetable oil in the pan. And Sherrie, what I need you to do is literally put it into a rough ball like this, but flatten it down. This is how the cutlets used to be. That's probably a bit small, but look, you can see the onion, the coriander in there, and literally drop it in. You can coat it with a little bit of flour if you want. Let's get a couple in there. I'm going to pass that over to you.
All right. So what are you going to be doing?
I'm just going to get a ladle in and make sure they're all cooking okay. So quite flat down. You can pass me some actually. Pass me a bit over, thank you. So imagine these being served. They'll be finished off in the oven in a second, but just being served with that yogurt-based raita that we've got.
Nice.
And then
chapati? We're having chapati?
Yeah, we'll have some chapati with that as well, and that will be partly with the stew. So leave those in the pan literally for about 4 or 5 minutes, I guess, and just go back to them, turn them when we need to, and when that's done, we'll get them into this pan
and then put them in the oven.
So these have been frying off on a medium heat for about 5 or 6 minutes. I've turned them 2 or 3 times. Look at them, they're smelling amazing. So there we go, look, juggling away with the pan. I'll get them on there eventually. So these are going to go into the oven only for about 10 or 15 minutes. We turn this down now. And you can tell, a bit like if you are making those real seasoned homemade burgers, you've got the onions and stuff is falling off it, and I can drop that back into the pan in a second. But these are going to be amazing. Ready to go into the oven, and it can stay next to that stew. You can stay on gas mark 680 for a fan assisted oven, 200 if it's an electric oven but not fan assisted. Probably another 10 minutes or so. Look at those dumplings.
Wow. That's
Very,
looking
very
good.
appetizing, isn't it?
That's looking good, Patty.
Sherrie's special Carib Asian stew, cooked with a whole selection of wonderful vegetables and beef as well, yeah?
I love it. Patties, rissoles or cutlets,
Yeah.
the way Mum used to call it.
Yeah, with
That's
chapatis
nice.
and a lovely yogurt base raita and a little bit of garnish. I'm going to
Smells
enjoy this.
good. Me too.
Yeah.
That is it. Make your cooking experience fun. Try and use fresh ingredients where you can, with lots of seasoning and spice. So join us next week when we'll bring you more mouth-watering recipes on Pat Sherrie's Carib Asian Cookery Show. Take care for now.
Bye.
If you want to try some of Pat and Sherrie's recipes at home, the Carib Asian Cookery book, Recipes in Rhymes, is out now, available online and from all good bookstores.